Over 13,000 strikes, 80% of air defense is gone. This is how the U.S. took control of Iran's airspace. For years, we have always focused on military reunion, but have you ever thought about how these soldiers survive on the battlefield? Today, we're going to be uncovering how the U.S. military defeated the Iranian military and their powerful air defense systems. This is not just a story about weapons, and this is not just a story about power. This is a story about strategy, precision, survival, and the human cost behind every decision made in war. Because behind every missile launched, behind every radar signal detected, there is a soldier watching, waiting, hoping to survive another day. And in modern warfare, victory is not always about who has more weapons. It is about who thinks faster. The tension between the United States and Iran had been building for years. Both nations possessed strong military forces, both had advanced technologies, and both understood that if a conflict ever broke out, it would not be a traditional war. There would be no clear front lines. Instead, the battlefield would stretch across the skies, the sea, cyberspace, and even space itself. Iran had spent decades strengthening its defenses. Their air defense network was layered, complex, and unpredictable. They invested heavily in radar systems, missile batteries, and underground facilities. Their strategy was simple: make any attack too costly. On the other side, the United States prepared differently. They studied, analyzed, simulated, and most importantly, they adapted. Because modern warfare is not about reacting, it is about anticipating. Before a single missile was launched, or any single aircraft entered hostile airspace, the war had already begun, but no one could see it. This was the cyber battlefield. U.S. cyber units worked silently, targeting communication networks, radar systems, and command structures. They didn't destroy them, they disrupted them. Confusion became their weapon. Radar signals began to show false targets. Communication lines started to fail. Commands were delayed or never received. From the outside, everything looked normal. But inside the system, chaos was growing. Iranian operators began to question their own screens. Was that a real aircraft or just interference? Was that signal friendly or hostile? In war, hesitation can be deadly, and the United States knew this. When the first wave of U.S. aircraft entered the airspace, they were not alone. Stealth aircraft led the mission. Invisible to most radar systems, they moved silently through the sky. Their role was not to attack immediately, but to observe and identify. Every radar station, every missile launcher, every defensive position was mapped in real time. Behind them came electronic warfare aircraft. These planes didn't drop bombs, they controlled the battlefield. They jammed signals, they blocked communication, they overwhelmed radar systems. To Iranian defenses, it felt like trying to see through a storm. Then came the precision strikes, not random, not widespread. Each strike had a purpose. Key air defense systems were targeted first, command centers followed, and within hours, the defensive network that once looked powerful began to collapse. But behind all this technology, behind every decision made from a command center, there were people, young soldiers, sitting in dark rooms, staring at screens, pilots flying missions, knowing that one mistake could be their last, commanders making decisions, knowing lives depended on them. For the soldiers on the ground, the battlefield was not a strategy, it was a reality. Explosions in the distance, uncertainty in every direction, fear mixed with duty. Many of them had families, many of them never wanted war. But when the moment came, they stood where they were told to stand and did what they were trained to do. As the operation continued, the balance began to shift. With weakened air defenses, U.S. forces gained control of the skies. And in modern warfare, control of the sky changes everything.
Surveillance drones monitored every movement, supply routes were tracked, strategic locations were identified and neutralized. But the most important factor was coordination. Every unit worked as one. Air, sea, cyber, and intelligence forces were connected in real time. Information flowed constantly. Decisions were made instantly. This level of coordination created something powerful: speed. And in war, speed is often the difference between success and failure. At first glance, it might seem like this victory was about superior weapons, but the truth is different. It was about strategy.
The U.S. military did not rely on brute force. They relied on intelligence, timing, precision, and coordination. They avoided unnecessary destruction. They focused on key targets. They minimized risks wherever possible. Because modern warfare is not about destroying everything. It is about achieving objectives efficiently. And sometimes the most powerful move is the one no one sees. When the conflict began to slow, the battlefield fell quiet. But the impact remained. Destroyed systems, broken infrastructure, lives changed forever. For the soldiers who survived, the war did not end when the fighting stopped. It stayed with them, in memories, in silence, in moments they could never forget. War leaves marks that cannot be seen, and victories often come with a cost that cannot be measured. So what can we learn from this? This story is not just about how one military defeated another. It is about the reality of war. It is about the decisions made under pressure, the strategies built over years, and the people who stand in the middle of it all. Because at the end of the day, weapons don't fight wars, people do. The soldiers who step into uncertainty, the pilots who fly into danger, the operators who make split-second decisions, they carry a responsibility that most of us will never fully understand. And whether you agree with war or not, one thing remains true. Those who serve, those who risk their lives, deserve respect. Not because of victory, but because of sacrifice. Because every mission, every order, every moment on the battlefield comes with a price. And that price is paid by human lives. So the next time you hear about war, don't just think about strategies or outcomes. Think about the people behind them. Because they're the ones who carry the true weight of conflict. And that is something we should never forget. If you found this video powerful, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep military documentaries. This is Reunion Stand, and we'll see you in the next video.